Entitled Sister tries to steal an unborn baby by user DTB3433. Hey everyone, it's Sealmong456 and today I am doing r/entitled parents because, well, why not? Well, anyways, guys, if you like this, make sure to subscribe, hit that like button, and also turn on post notifications. Okay, anyways, let's get on to the story. We're posted from a different sub. So this happened about 3 years ago to my boyfriend's sister-in-law. For the purpose of the story, I will be referring to her as my sister-in-law as well. Main cast, me, take a guess. BF, boyfriend, sissy, sister-in-law. Sissy, sister-in-law. Brother, BIL, mother-in-law, married to sis. Boyfriend's older brother. ES, entitled sister. BIL and BF's older sister. MIL, FIL, mother-in-law and father-in-law. BIL and Sissy announced that they were expecting their first child after all the presents had been opened on Christmas Day. Everyone was elated and couldn't wait for the new addition to the family. Weeks passed, and the pregnancy was going well. Then it was time for the gender reveal. BIL and Sissy had been expressing that they wanted a little girl. They wanted to name her after Sissy's mother who had passed away. Everyone was on board and hoping for little bits of pink confetti to fall from the blue when it popped. Then boom, blue confetti. Everyone was a bit stunned, then regained their excitement. A baby boy. ES took notice of the moment of sudden silence and determined that it was in disappointment. This is when she made her move. She pulled BIL aside and started talking to him. I'm so sorry you won't be getting your little girl, BIL. It's okay, we aren't upset about it. ES, you know I could take him off your hands for you if you want. BIL, laughing. Yeah, you can have him sometimes. ES, smiling wide. Really? Oh, my girls will be so happy. She is $2, age is 6 and 8. BIL, I mean he'll be their cousin, so they'll get to see him. ES then ran back to where her husband and daughters were and started talking gleefully to them. BIL didn't think anything of it until 2 weeks later when the first partially filled out adoption papers were received in the mail. Sissy went off on BIL, thinking that she had promised away their child. She was so livid that her whole body was shaking and her face was bright red. BIL just explained that he told ES that she could babysit him and have him do a day or so when they needed help. Sissy calmed down a bit and they put the adoption papers away. After a third set of adoption papers were received, someone sort of started to shut out ES, and she was invited to the baby shower for fear that she would make a scene. That is exactly what she did. She showed up to the baby shower, pounding on the door and screaming that we threw a party for her baby and didn't include her. We all ignored her, hoping that she would go away. This only made it worse. After the banging on the front door stopped, we all assumed she had left. That was until we heard footsteps from the kitchen and heard ES and the daughters running into the living room. The girls made a dash for the present table and tried to grab as much as they could while ES began screaming at Sissy that she had no right to keep her from her son's baby shower. Boyfriend and I stopped the girls from getting the presents and tried to calmly explain that the whole situation was a misunderstanding and they, BIL and Sissy, were keeping their baby. That's not fair. You didn't even want a boy. I already told my girls that they were getting a brother. ES's daughter looked very confused and the younger one was crying. Well, you shouldn't have told him that. He's our son and we're keeping him. You need to leave now. ES put up a fight and even spit at Sissy and called her a W, but FIL and BF managed to drag her out, followed by MIL and the little girls. We all knew this wouldn't be the end of it, and as it got closer to Sissy's due date, we all agreed not to tell ES, but home from the hospital is Celadon. But ES still had one more trick up her sleeve. Sissy went into labor very early in the morning, and after 11 hours, the baby boy was born. He was, and still is, perfect. Once they were home and just started to get settled, they got a knock on the door. It was Child Protective Services. Hold on, why would the entitled sister call Child Protective Services? It's a newborn baby. We have received some information that we need to investigate. Bill and Sissy knew right away that since they had nothing to hide, they allowed CPS to look around the house. They found nothing and left. 2 days later, they were back and the same scenario occurred. For 4 weeks, CPS was there almost every other day until finally Bill and Sissy received the summons to court. ES was filing for custody of the baby. Bill and Sissy knew what her plan was. ES was hoping they wouldn't show up to court because it was silly and the judge would make a default judgment in her favor. Bill and Sissy arrived at court after dropping their son off with IML. ES was a bit shocked, but her and her lawyer presented their case, saying that in only 4 weeks they had had CPS called on them 6 times by anonymous neighbors who claimed that they were letting the baby cry for hours and that they did not have any food for the baby. They stated that Bill and Sissy were clearly not ready to be parents and that ES just wanted to give the baby a loving home. The judge took a look at the CPS papers and saw that nothing was found. And your case? He said, pointing to the folder that Bill and Sissy had in front of them. My sister, BIL, my sister, ES, asked me on the day of our gender reveal if she could take the baby off our hands, and I assumed she meant she wanted to babysit him, so I agreed. She then proceeded to send us multiple copies of adoption forms, showed up uninvited to the baby shower, and demanded that we hand our baby over because she had already told her daughters that they were getting him. And I have a feeling that she was the one who placed all those calls, seeing as our neighbors haven't been over to our house to know if we have food for him, and they understand that babies cry. He presented the judge with a half-filled out adoption form, and the judge ruled in Bill and Sissy's favor. ES stood there confident until the second the judge dismissed the case, and she broke down in tears. After a year of not talking to each other, ES reached out to Bill and apologized. She told him that she had found out that she wouldn't be able to have any more children and she wouldn't be crazy. She explained that she knew it wasn't a good experience for her good behavior, but she missed her brother and wanted to fix things. Bill happily agreed, and now ES is back in the family and is a wonderful auntie to the baby boy. That's nice. Sissy is now expecting her second child. ES, after months of being told she couldn't have any more kids due to her endometriosis, is also pregnant. Win-win. Oh. Sissy is expecting a girl and ES is expecting a little boy. They both decide to get blood tests to find out their genders early. ES's pregnancy is going very well despite her medical issues. They are both due in the later half of this year. You know, it's one of those entitled parent stories that end usually really well. It's like a win-win for both cases. Even if... No. Dang, what am I doing? No, better. Close. There we go. Oh, that's a good one. Entitled Dad Millionaire thinks it's okay to pay people with cookies. Click. Click. Oh, there we go. By user, I know I'm gonna butcher this. Ego Brock 2019. My mom is a piano teacher, and as such, she gets to meet a lot of entitled parents. This is extra large? No, it's large. She gave me permission to share some of the stories with the world, so here we go. You must know that she is a very successful music teacher, and although she works in a music college, she also has private practice. People queue for years, not exaggerating here, to get a place in her class. At the normal rate, her normal rate is an equivalent of $50 per hour. So the abbreviations are ED, entitled Dad, EM, entitled Mom, M, my mom, and nanny, EK1, EK2, entitled Kids 1 and 2. The family was slightly out of ordinary. We knew that ED was a millionaire. He has a number of factories that produce confectionery. I think he was once dubbed in the press as the Cookie King or something like that. My mom named her price, which is not extortionate at all, especially for a high-income person, and then wrote it down. Said that she would pass it on to Edie. After that, Anne called my mom twice over the phone to lower the price. I was quite angered by this, and my sister demanded that I lower the price for these people. So my mom stood strong, and finally Edie had to accept the price. Phew. Here comes EK1. I didn't want Ish on the kid, but she didn't have learning difficulties. She was dumb. At 7 years of age, she would still count on her fingers, and then when asked about how old she was. She wasn't dyslexic either. My mom always checks with the parents if their kids have learning or developmental problems to adjust her teaching system. EK wasn't just dumb. She was spoiled rotten. She didn't give a crap about my mom being her teacher, aka the authority figure. She would stick her tongue out, beat on the keyboard. Every pianist will confirm this is one of the worst crimes ever. She would scream the word pee-pee on the top of her lungs. She would also pick her nose and smear her boogers on the piano. It was a nightmare, but we really needed the money back then. As my mom almost solely sponsored my sister's education, so she had to continue teaching this entitled piece of entitled crap. Neither EM or ED were present during the lessons in the beginning. Only the nanny, who was visibly embarrassed by EK1's behavior, but wasn't allowed to do anything about it. Especially my mom. Eventually, my mom got so exhausted she decided to talk to the parents. Though N said she sent an invitation to eat funguses. Edie to come over one of the sessions and see how EK1 behaves, hoping they will do something about it if the nanny can't. Edie called my mom later in the evening and sounded extremely. Edie, do you realize that I'm a very busy man? I'm paying you good money to look after my daughter. If you can't control her childish quirks, then you do not deserve to be such a celebrated teacher. My mom isn't normally a pushover, but this man had a very threatening demeanor. She got very upset with him doubting. No, dang it. Her professionalism and let slide. Wrong. EK1's behavior became just worse. Apparently, Daddy gave her a carte blanche to behave as bad as one could possibly could. But when she kicked my mom as she tried to refocus her attention from scratching her groin to Mozart, Mom realized that enough is enough. She told ED that if he or EM are not going to come and watch their daughter, she's going to refuse teaching her. Finally, EM came to the session with EK2, a cute 3-year-old. Despite being cute, she was also spoiled, but maybe not as badly as EK1. Yet. During the lesson, EK2 was sort of crawling around the class, and she started playing on the piano together with EK. Distracting her, she already had an attention span of an infant, rendering the whole session utterly pointless. EK1 had a meltdown, and EM did absolutely nothing to calm her down. She was just sitting there with her fake tan and breasts, bleached hair, and ridiculously pink acrylics. You can't get. I'm gonna skip this part. EM did try to get my mom fired. It was laughable to pull that off, but here, you guys can pause it to read it, but there is more where that came from. Let me know if you want to hear some of the other entitled parent encounters. TLDR millionaire tries to get my mom fired from her music college because she turns down his offer to teach his 2 spoiled kids for half the price in a box of cookies. Well, guys, if you like that, Well, guys, if you like this episode of r/entitled parents, hit that thumbs up and hit that subscribe button. Bye.